past few years, there's been a lot of different cases involving journalists and police, where the police tend to have a negative effect on journalists who document different police brutality protests and different protests across the country where police brutality is involved. Now, this case that I'm going to mention about this video is a case that everybody should know about at least and support what is going on in this injustice here of a journalist. Her name is Patti Beers, PM, as she's known for on the internet, where she was arrested in Fullerton, California for simply filming the police. Now, this seems to happen a lot the past few years with a trend where the police have a clampdown on journalists or citizen journalists or activists for simply filming the police or filming an arrest that takes place. Now, this case specifically that I'm going to break down for you today is what happened in January 18th, 2014 in Fullerton, California, where this case involving Kelly Thomas, who was a schizophrenic man who was beaten to death by police officers on the street, fully documented in California, and ended up dying in the process in the hospital after that beating on the street. The two police officers involved, Manuel Ramos and Jay Cuccinelli, were acquitted on a trial by a jury. They were their charges were dropped. They weren't charged with any crime involved in this case for the beating of Kelly Thomas, the two officers that were involved here. And obviously there was outrage from protesters and people who took to the streets after that verdict was announced on January 18th, 2014 and protested, where the police met the protesters with riot gear. Now, this is nothing new for any journalists or protesters at different events, including New York City, Florida, or Los Angeles, or any other place across the country where police tend to have more militarized gear throughout the past few years and decades with the rise of the program called 1033, which is a Pentagon Department of Defense program which gives free weapons, free gear, all of that stuff to local police departments through grants by Homeland Security and other organizations such as MRAPs, assault rifles, helicopters, drones, all of that type of gear, grenade launchers, anything else you could think of where the blurred lines between the military and law enforcement, where it's now become morphed into a militarized police, where the police more look like soldiers in Iraq than military on the streets of America. We saw that with different cases, including Ferguson, Missouri, Los Angeles, California, and Anaheim, and places like that. Now, this case, the reason that she was arrested, she faces up to 6 months in jail. Her trial is upcoming soon, where she faces up to 6 months for simply filming the police. Now, the main reason that she was arrested, that the Fullerton Police gave, was a failure to disperse. Herself along with several other journalists, several other people were arrested at the time, handful of other people that were arrested, which was a code 409, which means a failure to disperse. Now, police tend to use these vague reasons to arrest people in these different cases. You see in New York City where they give people obstruction of pedestrian traffic in the middle of the sidewalk for simply being on the sidewalk, even if you're not a protester, even documenting what's going on at protests, where police tend to say you're obstructing pedestrian traffic, then you're subject to arrest. They use these vague, oxymoronic, different little codes that they use to suppress dissent and also suppress people from documenting these types of events that occur. Now, the implications of this case is basically the idea that you don't have a right to film the police, which is completely false, because most cases throughout the country, and Supreme Court cases have also proven this, that all 50 states, it's legal to film the police. It's 100% legal to film police officers. As long as you're making it known and you're filming police at a distance without obstructing them, it is within your right to film police officers in this case. And it tends to help in different cases, whether it's on the other side or on your side, where the police officer may do something wrong, that the camera is simply there as a deterrent, as transparent, for transparency purposes. And with Kelly Thomas's case, with Eric Garner's case, along with several other cases where a video evidence is paramount to the case, where you could show plainly, clear as day, what happened through a eye of a camera. Now, the technology on this is huge because everyone has a cell phone. Everyone has access to a camera now, even, again, with cell phones there. So it's important for people from this case to support her case and to not allow people to be punished simply for filming police. We've done several interviews about this issue with filming police. We've done interviews with people throughout, even locally, and also in New York City, where cases like this have resulted in from video evidence, with video camera evidence of what happened throughout these different cases. You could check out all those videos on the YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, and subscribe. We've done several ones, including trials which have related to filming police, and also specific stories that have related to where people have been or simply arrested for filming police. So this case is very important. And also in the end of simply filming the police, which simply she was doing, Patti Beers, the live streamer, she's done an amazing job covering other protests also for a long time now. And definitely I encourage people to check out her work and support her cause in this, not just for her case also, but the implications of this as journalists, as protesters, as simply observers of what happens at protests, where police tend to have the riot gear, have militarized gear out for protests, for 100% peaceful protests, where the cops are the more violent people instead of the actual protesters, where there's absolutely no violence going on whatsoever, where most of the violence tends to come from the police. But the implications of this is also for journalism in general, because we've seen time and time again where the mainstream media, the corporate-owned media, doesn't do the job that it's supposed to do, related with police brutality, with documenting police misconduct, all of these types of information where it is paramount for anyone watching, for watching this video, to share this video, to know about this case that she's facing, where someone could, for simply filming the police, face so much time in jail where she shouldn't serve a day in jail, not one day, for simply documenting what the police done, where they tend to do arrests, snatch and grabs. This has been cases throughout different protests across the country where police use these tactics that is basically out of a third world country, where you see the police use these types of tactics, undercover officers, snatch and grab, for people simply being on the sidewalk, on a public sidewalk. And it's paramount for people to film these actions, to film police misconduct, because eventually when the government tries to take everybody out, whether it's try to suppress their dissent, to suppress journalism, to suppress the real adversarial journalism that is needed in the future, that everyone needs to become the media. Everyone. It's the old quote saying, don't hate the media, become the media. Be your own media. Be the change that you want to see in this world, because that is very important to filming police misconduct for the interests of transparency and accountability. And with this case, it's also very important. So again, the links for the information I could donate and all of that, the Facebook event page for the update on the trial, which the trial date will be February 23rd. So I definitely encourage people that are in the area to be there, to document this trial, because it's very important for the interests of journalism, for the interests of a free press, for the interests of simply observer, to document protests, to document what happens at these types of events. So I definitely encourage people to, if you're in the area, attend the court date, support her case so she could walk free, and then continue to do the amazing work that she's been doing. So again, I definitely encourage people to check out her work, and also the links to her case and what it means in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon.
Military equipment, from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet. They are decked out in such a barrier that they no longer connect to the community. And when you don't connect to the community, and when you feel so isolated from them, it's much easier to shoot on them. You have a sense that
there's this pop culture idea of the trial in America, that the trial is the place where justice is done, where two equal sides battle it out to find the truth. And this is such bullshit. Anyone who has been in a court for any amount of time realizes